Attack the enemy! Victory is ours!
Hello everybody, and welcome back for the final day of a week of apparently all Japan tank battles. I promise that will end now. This will be the last week where it's like that, because 1.71 either already is out, I'm not sure, or it will be out very, very, very soon, and I will be working on that. As it is, I've been working on grinding a bunch of modifications for my other higher tier tanks for the other nations anyway, so I'll be doing that mostly anyhow. At any rate, this is 2 out of the last 3 battles I played before I unlocked the Type 60 self-propelled recoilless rifle, which, if you didn't see, I did the first 10 for this past Monday. These were both from 16 September 2017, and it was 1 battle, and then there was another one in the middle that I didn't include in this video, and then the 3rd battle out of the 3, which is the 2nd one in this video, which is where I actually unlocked the Type 60. It's not really a spoiler. You can see that I did have Heat FS shells unlocked finally for the STA-1. It was, this was maybe the 3rd battle that I had them. I got some hits on people in the first couple battles I had it, nothing really great. This was finally the first battle where I was able to get a good few shots off of people, so that was nice. There are probably a few stutters in this video, I think, and those, I believe, are because I've been recording. I'm on my laptop because I'm traveling for work right now, and I believe that the problem is my Shadowplay directory is on a regular 2.5-inch hard drive rather than an SSD. So I'm going to try swapping back over to the SSD for a little bit and see if that gets rid of the stutters, and then I can narrow it down. Other than that, I hope they're not too noticeable and distracting. At any rate, made it into the C point here to assist with the capture with this RU-251. Started taking some artillery and backed away as fast as I could and went over to cover the left side of the approach to this cap, as the RU-251 was over on the right side. So hopefully we would sort of have 2 avenues of approach covered. As expected, the enemy starts coming up their approach to the C point, and it's an IS-6. Now, I don't know with without Heat FS if I'd have done damage to him there. Possibly the angle I was shooting at. I may have done damage to him with the APCR rounds, but I'm not even 100% sure. At any rate, I'm going to stop saying at any rate now. Anyways, the Heat FS did go through and take out his loader and do slight damage to his breach. So, big improvement for the STA-1's ability to do damage to enemies. You can see a Type 92, or a T-92 rather, pulling up over here, who gets annihilated as soon as I was able to get my gun even close to him. And then the IS-6 is behind him, and I was able to get another shot almost in the same place. This time, totally taking out his cannon breach. So, very, very big improvement on the Heat FS shells. I hope that continues in 1.71. Now this shot right here, beautiful shot, except it somehow hit the tank trap, I guess. Unfortunate, because I think that may have killed him. Oh, also, some random YouTuber was here, too, that I just drove past in his Tiger, who just killed that M13. Now, for all of you who immediately paused your video or didn't even bother pausing and screamed into the comment section to tell me what an idiot I am and how can I not know who McChickenbites is, I know who McChickenbites is, so you can still go ahead, send the comment if you want to, but I know who he is. Shame on you if you fell for that bait. Got another dude back behind the destroyed IS-6 there. It was a Vickers MBT. Got a kill on him. The Heat FS was doing quite well here. And I backed off to hold an ambush on the other guys that I saw coming up there. And we've got them pretty well covered and bottled off in their exit from their spawn here. Again, got a pretty good shot into an IS-6. Took out his gunner, his commander, his cannon breach, his rotation, set him on fire, all kinds of damage. Thought this shot was going to be at the front of the lower glacis, although you can see in the damage cam that's not actually what I was hitting, so I pulled forward just a little bit to get another shot into him and actually got one into his forward armor rather than a glancing shot off the side armor, and it killed him. My STA-1 can now kill IS-6s, and boy, what an improvement that is. So looking at the mini-map, I kind of decided to myself, very much close around here, that we got about way too many people getting way too close to their spawn, and not close enough to the B point, which is being taken, and they've now got it captured. So I'm pushing forward still here, and I think right after they took the B point is when I realized, oops, we've got nobody near B. So I push forward a little bit here just to move over and make sure that I had a clear approach to the B point. Somebody gets hit here. I zoomed in on him just to make sure he really was a dead conqueror, and he was. And then I decided make a 90-degree left turn and head my way to the B point as quickly as I could. Because really, we've got enough guys heading down into their spawn. And you certainly don't need me down there too. So, on my way back up to the B point and trying to race in there, I've got an ally coming with me over here on the left, my random squad mate in his Tiger 2. And as I'm rotating around to try and get a machine gun shot on this Firefly flying over, I get hit from behind by a Vickers MBT, but not a bad start to the battle for the STA-1, really. Pretty seriously damaged 2 IS-6s, so that's not a bad battle ever in any tank. Pretty good for an STA-1. We still needed ground units more than we needed air units, so I came back in my M41A1 here. And almost immediately, enemy air starts coming through. Right as I'm about to start getting hits on this guy, he gets taken out by the Whirlwind, so I didn't even get an assist on him, but that was alright. Right after him comes another aircraft, and I was able to actually get some couple hits on him, but unfortunately no good effects. I had fired some kind of covering, masking artillery down south of the B point to cover our guy who was down there, but he got taken out, sadly. Now these bombs I thought were kind of funny, because the bomb icons showed they were in front of me towards the battle, but the damage from the explosion came from behind me towards our spawn, so weird. Now, I'm also seeing an enemy being marked right here, hitting on our spawn, moving into our spawn, so got around behind him and showed him what I think about spawn rapers. I think they should lose their commanders and their loaders and their cannon breaches. That's what I think. And I also think they should explode. So I did. Which protected a couple of SPAA back in our spawn, so I was pretty happy about that. I got some smoke rounds ready after that to go in and try to retake the A point and swing the ticket bleed back into our favor. A stalemate isn't too bad, but in our favor is better. Another reason I brought the M41 in instead of my KI-61 or a bomber is just really because this was the day that I was grinding and grinding and grinding to finish the last home stretch for the Type 60. So, the more tanks I got into the battle, the better. Now, you all already know my penchant for firing smoke rounds all over the place with my M41, because the reload is just beautiful. And the armor is not, so using the smoke as an extension to your armor is still a pretty good tactic. Little already on B to see if any enemies were over there. And moved up to keep the smoke going up here. And then got killed somehow. Now if you watch this shot, I don't know whether to call that the biggest BS in the world or congratulate him on an amazing shot. At the time, of course, I was not about to congratulate him on an amazing shot. I still don't know if I should or not, but he did shoot me through a building. I don't know if it's BS or if it was just a great shot. I know I was dancing back and forth a little bit, launching off smoke shells and driving back and forwards and stuff, but I don't feel like the smoke was gone long enough for him to see me. Maybe? Maybe. Anyway, it was time to come back in the KI-61. So I can see there's an enemy lit up at the B point. Unfortunately, I cannot safely drop on him without probably killing the Quellian. So I elected to just fly by, turn around and come back and mark him with machine guns for in case he got killed, or our friendly got killed, and come back around and line up on him just in case our teammate Quellian got killed there. He did not. The enemy left the B point, and I was able to get a bomb drop on somebody coming out of their spawn, but the bombs unfortunately didn't hit him at all.
Defend the C point.
So came back in to keep trying to strafe the guy. Turned out it was an M18, and I took out his commander, unfortunately, instead of his gunner or his driver, but at least made it easier for somebody to kill him, which they did almost 10 seconds later. And I rolled back in because I can hear some sort of enemies around. I was trying to strafe the guy at B to keep him marked. And then you can see that a C-Fire has just taken out a 109G. And I tried to get some altitude, didn't quite roll out of the climb fast enough, and completely lost all lift over the wings, and my plane just kind of died in a stall. And even had so little airspeed that I had trouble getting the nose back down as well. Eventually I had just enough airspeed going that I was able to roll it over and get some control again, and back off my overheating water slightly, and then roll in around and get into a turning fight with this C-Fire here. Now, thankfully, he was a bit occupied by our SPAA shooting at him, but not enough to stop him from taking out a friendly Panther, unfortunately, before I could get on him. And I got the all-important central gear leg crit, as usual. Then I got a real good crit on his engine, but there was so much smoke coming out of him, and the way he was maneuvering just kept him perfectly in front of me that I couldn't see where he was actually heading, so I just shot all over the place. And then realized he was not going to pull out of that rolling dive there, and I was able to pull up faster than he did, and got the heck away from him. Or got away from the buildings that I was going to run into, rather. Managed to pull myself up to first place there after that kill, which shows you just how much more score you get from killing an airplane with an airplane in an RB tank battle. Because I went from 4th or 5th to 1st.
A little more effort and victory will be ours.
Rolled back around to try and do some more strafing on enemy aircraft. Or, I mean, enemy tanks, not enemy aircraft. And spotted an FV-4005 coming out of their spawn. Pulled up so I didn't hit any trees, and SPAA hit me instead. Now, when I talk about aircraft with half a wing being gone, being 0% combat effective, this is what I'm talking about. There's no way I can do anything here but just bail out. No way I'm going to be able to get my nose on a target, so 1 assist, 1 air target destroyed. Not the best battle in a KI-61, but not the worst either. We had the battle pretty well in hand now, and I thought that I wasn't going to get a whole lot of score with a tank, so better off coming in on my KI-67, which I did not quite have the 500 kilogram bomb unlocked yet, so I still had 3 250 kilo bombs, which is not a bad bomb load, really. So that's what I was using to come back into the battle with the KI-67. So as we arrive at the battle, trying to spot any sort of enemies firing up here. Anything at all. We've got our guys pretty much just at the edge of their spawn. And somebody takes out McChicken Bites there, and I could not exactly see where the shot came from. It was some kind of a Carnarvon. I couldn't quite tell where he was from. Dropped open the bomb bay to roll back in around and try to spot the guy. I assumed he was shooting from inside the spawn, but I'm not entirely sure that he was. And as I zoom in down here to try and come back and spot a target, I don't see anything at all on my first pass. Climbing up again, and then there's somebody capturing B. Now, I'm pretty sure I took a hit from that same SPAA again, but he didn't keep his trigger pulled down, so either he had really good trigger discipline or it was a tank. The only damage that it really caused was some slight damage to the wing spars, but it didn't affect the flight characteristics really any. And unfortunately, my bomb was not really close because of the angle that my aircraft was at. So I didn't even come close to getting a good bomb hit on the B point. And then tried to roll back around and get lined back up on B here. There's a guy getting marked just inside their spawn, and I can't quite get the aircraft to come around on him either, so I didn't drop here again. And unfortunately that also pulled me offline for the target at B, who has actually already been destroyed, so it doesn't really matter. Almost fell out of the sky there and had to get the nose down to build up some airspeed. A little bit too much turning and with a little bit of wing drag on the right side. It's not that bad, but it's enough to mess with you if you're trying to turn in a sustained manner. We recaptured the B point. The team had basically finished them off at this point, and I never actually saw anything to bomb at. That giant smoke mushroom there was a pretty good indicator, but I knew he was also too far away from it by the time I was able to get my bombs off, and my bombs blow up without even doing any damage. But still, 4th place wasn't too bad. Dropped down from all that flying around on the KI-67 without being able to get any score. At least with the KI-61, I finished off another tier of modifications, and was very close to being done. I still haven't quite spaded it out yet, because after the Type 60 SPRR, I haven't really played my Japan tanks since then. So, 61,000 lions, not too shabby, not too bad for a 4th place. A win always helps, a decent amount of research. And that left me with 4602 to go for the Type 60, which I thought, well, if I have another battle like this, that should be really easy to get. Except, of course, a fair chunk of that research was actually towards the aircraft from the KI-61 and KI-67, so slightly deceptive on the vehicle research score. So the battle in between these two was a pretty good one, but kind of a boring one. We won, and there wasn't really a whole lot of fighting. We kind of moved in, took the captures, and just held them, unlike most games. And Can't Stump the Milo there, rather, was in that battle, so he was laughing when he saw me in this battle again. So as it was, the good old El Alamein with, or not El Alamein, sorry. With domination here, I'm going to probably almost always go for the A point on a domination map. Unfortunately, I do not have artillery yet, which I would love to be firing on their side of the bridge, because if nothing else, you can mark some enemies up there. This guy right here was, I don't know what his deal was. He does this a bunch of times during the battle. I know it's essentially harmless, but you'll see what I'm talking about. We're rolling on into A, hoping that I'm going to make it there in time before we finish off the capture. And we're not quite going to make it into the point, just short. Because this thing's mobility is not what it needs to be. Now, if you watch on the minimap off to the east of me, you're going to see a tank get marked, and that is where I'm heading. I was heading over here to cover the bridge against any reinforcements or any campers over here. I guess he was already marked. I must have already seen it earlier. I must have just missed it here in the replay. Anyway, I knew there was a guy right up here on that point, and I was able to catch this T-44 from the side, give him a little heat FS to the side of his turret, and take out all 3 of his crew. Now, I started driving up here into the little spot where he was originally to turn and just guard against them coming out of their spawn, and then thought better of it and decided we certainly need the B point much more than we need me guarding over here. So I reoriented myself and turned around to head back to the B point. Gave a little sweep over here past their approach from their spawn as I went, and then continued onwards to try and make it to the B point as quickly as my not very quick tank could do. Trying to sort of keep my eyes open on their ridgeline, expecting to get shot from any moment. Encountered my buddy shooting at me from the spawn here. And he shot at something and didn't hit it, and I was trying to get the heck out behind cover again, because obviously he shot at somebody from behind the ridge, which was then able to hit me in the engine and set me on fire. And then, thankfully, my sort of schizophrenic teammate here decided to be a good teammate at this point and pushed in front of me to shield me from being shot at further and get up to where he could fire, so I definitely appreciated that. That was very handy of him to get over here, and he knew where the enemy was as well and started shooting at him and marked him with his machine guns, and then I think he just killed our Type 61 there. I shot more of a harassing shot than anything, and also a bait shot to try and drag him out, thinking that maybe if one of us had fired, he would come out. That's not what happened, but the Tiger 105 was able to spot him and deal with him quite firmly and permanently, which allowed me to continue onwards again after my engine repairs were complete. So you can see a little bit of gunfire going on, some smoke over at the B point, all kinds of stuff happening over here. So I know there are enemies around somewhere, and I'm expecting contact as I drive up to the B point. We've got a few players left on our team, but we certainly look like we're doing worse than they are.
Need cover.
So a random teammate is calling for cover over to my left. I'm not sure that I can see the guy, but in a moment I should be able to. So I'm keeping my eyes that way as I continue on towards the B point, and then sure enough, there's a guy getting marked. Get a good shot into the side of his turret with some more heat FS, and that's one STRV down.
Thank you very much.
So I was happy to repay the favor to the same guy who saved me earlier from the T-34-100. And then I just barely made it up into the B point, and realize I am not capturing the B point, which tells me I'm not alone in the B point. Took out that poor defenseless 88mm anti-aircraft, anti-tank gun, and the tent for the poor crew that was nowhere to be found crewing it. And then continued onwards, looking out for whatever enemy it was that was holding the B point for them. Pretty confident that they would be around this rock, most likely, and sure enough, there they are. It's another STRV-81. Get a good shot and take out his crew. So there, for all of you who complained that I didn't include the STRV-81 in any of my chemotherapy videos, there's two STRV-81s taken out within about a minute there, so there you have it. I cured this map of STRV-81 cancer. Settled in for the capture, expecting to see enemy coming from over towards their spawn, most likely, especially once I started taking the B point. And then on the minimap, somebody gets marked well deep into our territory, and most likely trying to push in for our spawn. But backed up, hoping I'd be able to see them, and unfortunately all these rocks were in the way, so no go, no dice.
The Allied forces have captured a zone. Bravo!
I was going to push my way in towards the C area when I realized that I'd be better suited going over and helping the team that I have at A. If I went in towards C, I'd be going in solo with probably at least one enemy over there sitting and camping on it, guarding it. And at least over at the A point, I know I've got two friendlies, hopefully still when I get there, but... The best I could do for the poor guys back there where the spawn riper was just mark where he was. Now our guys are stopping them from taking the point at A again, so at least holding the ticket bleed to an even stalemate as I'm trying to motor my way back through the water here and get back to the A point.
Attention to the map.
And our RU-251 takes out the attempted spawn riper. And I very nearly got taken out by a wyvern doing a rocket attack. I think what saved me was being in the water. By the time my gun turret could turn around and get on him, he was already hidden behind the trees, and I couldn't even pick up where he was. And then I get in a pretty good position here to get some more counterfire back on him. And a nice low depression here from which to fire out of. And then he perfectly accidentally turns away, and his maneuvers take him and just keep him behind these stupid palm trees. So his entire maneuver that he did there kept him out of my sight, and I wasn't able to shoot at him naturally. So I gave up on that and continued towards A. And then he came in for a rocket attack on a teammate, and I tried to line up on him again. Unfortunately, the traverse on the commander's machine gun wasn't quite good enough, and the damage I did with the 50 cal also wasn't quite good enough. A couple hits, but didn't do anything. And the spawn raping guy comes back in a Spitfire Mark 24 and takes out one of our guys at the A point. I tried to give him some counterfire, which probably mostly just highlighted me for him. The Wyvern hit me and didn't kill me, and certainly highlighted me as I push in towards the A point, so they know I'm coming in from the west side of A here. We are capturing it, which was nice. Because the other guy is still alive at A, was able to get in and start the capture. So I know that there are 2 RP-3 armed British planes up, and I'm not a big fan of that. We also just lost the 262, which was the only anti-air that we had, so even worse situation. I tucked into my little sneaky hidey spot here at the A point that I know about, and now all of you do too. It ended up being a good thing I did, because the Spitfire Mark 24 comes in and kills the Tiger II. And then as he's rolling back in, I'm not sure if he actually saw me or not before I started shooting at him, but certainly as I'm firing at him, he's going to see me. But I got to do what I can do to try and hit him, and of course my machine gun just doesn't even get close to him. And he kills me with the friggin' RP-3s, of course. So, since we need anti-air, I'll come back in some sort of anti-air. With the added bonus of a little bit of CAS, at least 1 drop. So I can see the guy in the Spitfire heading off towards the water. And I'm debating which way I should go and then commit to the Spitfire here, because I really want to take him out before he gets any more kills. Thought I heard an enemy coming in behind me, but it wasn't. I thought maybe the Wyvern was coming. I was able to get a kill on him, and then this craziness happens, and watch what's about to happen here too. Yep. Schizophrenic dude decides he's going to shoot at me as I'm flipping through the air, and I don't understand the thinking behind that. It's not that he killed me, I was dead no matter what. But why risk the team kill? Why pay the team kill penalty? I don't know. I didn't report him or anything, but it was more just... What were you thinking?
Enemy forces have captured a zone.
Like I said, schizophrenic player. Got back in the M41 to see if I couldn't make my way back down to the B point and salvage this battle before we ran out of time. Got artillery on it, which somehow also fired my main gun, which almost certainly lit me up for the Wyvern flying over, who took out my engine and my tracks, of course. Because why not RP-3 spam? Except it wasn't the Wyvern after all, never mind. It was the same guy again. This time he came back in another Spitfire and a Mark 22. Because why not spam all the Griffin Spitfires in an RB tank battle? So I decided to change up and go over to the seaside spawn to hopefully throw him off and get myself a shot at him in my Soki, because really at this point, there's not a whole lot that I feel like we can do in this battle to bring it back to a victory with the amount of players we have left, and my Soki is not exactly an anti-tank worthy vehicle. I could take out M18s maybe, M24s, sure, but I'm probably not going to see those. So this is mostly an anti-air vehicle and a somewhat speedy little thing that I'm going to use to try and make it to the B point and start recapping it. But we really need somebody else to go cap something too, and both of the other two ground players to the east are just sitting still, not moving. At least the Kugelblitz did take out the Spitfire, so that was good. But we really needed him to be a mobile Kugelblitz, not just guarding the bridge over there. We really needed A back, or C or B back. And a little bit too late, the RU-251 decides to start joining me and capturing, trying to make it to the B point to capture. Which ended up, would have been irrelevant anyways, because there's yet another tank sitting inside the point holding it. I got some shots into him, and naturally, with his stabilizer, he's able to get a shot on me before I can get behind the rock, set me on fire, and keep me from making it into the B point, which wouldn't have stopped the ticket bleed anyway because he's sitting inside B, so didn't really matter either way. And let me tell you, I'd rather take 4th place in a victory than 1st place in a loss, every single time. However, the amount of ground research that I got was still pretty good, and I even got a little bonus 90,000 silver lions at the end of the battle from a treasure chest, so not too bad. Still 3 tank kills and 1 air kill. Not too bad of a battle. Pretty average, but enough to finish my Type 60 SPRR research, so there was that. With that, I packed up and went to bed for the night because I was done with the research. Got up the next morning and did the first 10. There's all the awards. Here's all the kill feed. And here's the end screen. Thank you all for watching. If you guys made it all the way through this long and rambly video, I appreciate it. I hope you all enjoyed this one. We'll see you next week for some more War Thunder, and it will be a lot more variety next week, not just Japan. Take care, everybody. Have a great day.